Hey, podcast listeners, it's Gfire. Today we are featuring singer-songwriter Laurie Lewis. But before we get into it, I wanted to let you know I have put out a fantastic new EP called Choosing My Own Colors on hot pink vinyl. The 5-song all-original album is available for purchase on my website, gfiremusic.com. That's gfirepodcast.com. You can also stream Choosing My Own Colors on Spotify, Apple Music, and wherever you get your favorite tunes. Now here's the podcast.
Hi.
Hey, Laurie, how's it going?
It's going well, thanks. How are you?
Good morning. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm in Austin, Texas. Where are you?
I'm in Berkeley, California.
Oh, that sounds great. Have you lived there a long time? Yeah.
Yeah, since 1959.
Oh, that's quite a while.
Yeah.
So
I haven't been in my home since 1959. I've only lived here for 50 years.
Okie dokie. Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, I think so. But
so born and bred in Berkeley then?
No, I moved here when I was 8. I'm giving my age away.
Oh, well.
That's okay. I always do. It's fine.
That's cool. Well, it's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I've got a list of podcast questions. The first one is, where are you from originally?
Well, I was born in California. My family moved around a little bit my first 8 years. So we lived in Texas for 3 years and Michigan for 5 years, and then moved to Berkeley. And I've pretty much been here ever since.
Wow. You know, I'm in Texas. Were you born here in Texas?
No, I was born in California, in Southern California, because my mom's parents were there. And my mom had my older sister who was like a year and a half old. And so she went there to get help with having me and, take care of Chris. And we lived, my dad was in medical school in McKinney, Texas.
Oh.
So that's where we lived for like 3 years.
And what started your singer-songwriting?
Well, I think it was mostly, the need to express myself. I didn't really start as a singer-songwriter per se. I'm a band musician, and I just love the excitement and the joy and the camaraderie of playing with other musicians. I'm not a solo artist. I would much rather not be a solo artist. I'm bored with myself. I like outside input. So, I really started as a band musician and, playing in bluegrass bands in the Bay Area and old time bands and square dance bands and things like that. And then I'd always been interested in poetry and writing poetry. And I had wanted to write songs when I was a teenager, but I didn't. And then when I was in my mid-20s, I started writing, and that became like my most important source of self-expression.
That's pretty cool. What when you were in bands, were you like the lead singer, or you play fiddle, right?
I play fiddle. I've started out just, singing harmonies and playing, backing up what else was going on. Yeah. I didn't start as the lead singer in any band.
You're just one of the gang.
Exactly.
And was that paying your bills at the time?
Well, until I was 36 and I did my first solo album, I had always worked doing something else besides. I worked at a violin shop for a long time. I worked at a gas station. I worked at a dance studio. I did other things while I was playing music on the weekends.
And then by age 36, you transferred and you started making your living doing this?
Exactly. Yeah. It was the process of recording that first solo album that was so, it just opened things up for me so much. And I just felt like, this is what I want to do. This is what I should be doing. This is my life. And so I quit. At the time I owned a violin shop. I sold the shop and just said, I'm going to try this. And it worked out.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I think so too. I feel so incredibly grateful for the life I've been able to live.
And now I read that you're married, right, to Tom?
Tom Rosem, yes.
And when did y'all meet?
We met. He moved to Berkeley in I think 1986 or something, right about the same time I did my first album, and he was in my first touring band when I decided to just play music, and sell the shop. But we've known each other before that, before his move to Berkeley. We met maybe, I don't know, 1983 or 84, when he was in a swing band in San Diego, and they came up to the Bay Area and asked if there was a bass player that could play with them when they did a radio show at KPFA here in Berkeley. And I said, yeah, because at the time I was playing bass with a traditional jazz band, the Golden Age jazz band around the Bay Area. And I just said, sure, yeah, I'll back you up. And that's when we first met.
You played bass for him?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you played bass as well.
Yeah, I embarked on playing bass. I think my timeline is a little bit off. It must have been later. It must have been like, about 80. I don't know when it was, 85 or something.
Yeah.
Tom and I met. But before that, maybe 83 or 84, this great bluegrass band in the Bay Area, the Phantoms of the Opry, which had as their lead singer Pat Enright, who I just loved. He went on to move to Nashville and joined the Nashville Bluegrass Band. And he's like a household word in the bluegrass community these days, with good reason. Wonderful, wonderful artist. But he asked me if I would play bass in the band, and I had never played bass, but I said yes. And I rented a bass and went to a party jam, and played bass all night long and tore up my fingers and kind of learned the absolute rudiments of playing the bass. And I played my first gig with the band that weekend.
Wow. Just got right in there.
Yeah, I did. Sink or swim. They threw me in the deep end and I survived. And the same thing sort of happened with the Golden Age Jazz Band. Dick Oxtott, the leader of the band, used to come into this pizza parlor where I played with the band I was in, the Good Old Persons. And one song I played bass. And it was in B flat, and I walked the bass. It was kind of a swing song, novelty song, and called the Rutabaga Boogie. And Dick, on the strength of my playing on one song, asked me to sit in or to play a night with his band, the Golden Age Jazz Band. Right. And this was a group of, just awesome horn players. And he played plectrum banjo or tenor banjo. I don't know what. He played banjo anyway, rhythm, and sang. And so I said yes, because at that time, I just said yes to everything. And I tell you, then I really did not know what I was doing. And the trombone player at the time in that band, Bob Milkey, he was really pissed off at Dick for bringing in yet another cute blonde girl who didn't know her way around music. But I had a good ear. And he just led me through the changes, basically.
Dick
and
did.
No, the trombone player.
Oh, the trombone player who was mad, but he decided.
He was mad, but he just like, shit, we're going to make the best of this. I'm just like leader by the nose. And I followed. And I did well enough that they kept asking me back, and I got a lot better.
I guess so, playing with all these jazz players.
They're amazing. They just opened up my eyes and ears and really changed my life.
Wow. So you basically, all this is like self-education. You never took like singing or violin lessons or anything like that?
Yeah, it is all self-education. I don't necessarily recommend it, but in my case, that's what I did. I learned while I earned.
Wow. And, on the fiddle too, that it's just so hard to make a good tone on the violin unless somebody shows you.
Well, I took violin lessons when I was a kid, when I was a teenager.
Okay.
And like 12 to 17, I took lessons. And so I knew the rudiments of how to get a good tone. I was, pretty good. The assistant concertmaster in 9th grade orchestra.
Okay. Sounds impressive to me.
Well, it was a very small orchestra. We didn't have too many choices. But yeah, I got good tone and I played in tune. And so when I got into fiddling, I had a leg up.
Okay, that's good. And you just were always drawn to bluegrass music?
I was. I heard it first as a teenager, just about maybe 13 or 14 years old. There were 2 events that I went to. I don't know which was first at this point, but I used to go to the Berkeley Folk Festival, which is a huge festival here in Berkeley, put on at Cal campus.
Still?
And no, it hasn't been going for years and years, for decades. But back then, in the 60s, when folk music was really popular, it had everybody you could think of played there. Doc Watson and Gene Ritchie and Lightnin' Hopkins and Reverend Gary Davis and Mississippi John Hurt, and all these people, and Joan Baez and Phil Oakes and Pete Seeger and everybody else too. They all were there, and in that big mash of people, I heard a bluegrass band called the Greenbrier Boys, and I loved them. And they said they had a new album coming out, and I just waited and waited for that album. I would walk down to the record store and ask if it was in, and no, not yet. So I finally bought that album and I listened to that. And around the same time, I went to see the Byrds play at the Berkeley Community Theater with my older sister. And the band opening for the Byrds was the Dillards, which is a bluegrass band. And they just knocked my socks off. I thought they were the best thing ever. And I fell in love with banjo. So then I wanted to play banjo. And
do you?
Oh, a little bit. I wouldn't say I'm much of a banjo player. I love the sounds of the banjo, but it made me want to play with great banjo players, which I have in my career, I have gotten to do. I'm very, very happy. All the best banjo players.
That's amazing. Do you know Danny Barnes?
Sure. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, I somehow I managed to talk him into doing a trade. I gave him a private Kundalini yoga session, and he played some banjo parts that are coming out on my album.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, so that's the only banjo player I've played with, because I'm really an electronic folktronica artist. So I just bring in folk elements to electronic music.
Yeah, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, but back to you, of course. All right, how about some career highlights? Well, you've already mentioned some, it sounds like, but anything? I know you've been nominated for multiple Grammys.
Yes, I have been, and I've some albums that I've been involved in have won Grammys. Chief among them, I would say, is True Life Blues, the songs of Bill Monroe, which won for a bluegrass Grammy. And
did you get a statue?
No.
Oh.
I got a T-shirt that says I won a Grammy, and all I got was this lousy T-shirt.
But officially, you won.
Yeah, but back then they only gave out the little statues to the primary people, the producer and the I don't know who it was. You had to be involved in a certain percentage of the things, but this was a various artists tribute to Bill Monroe. And
which song did you do? Yeah,
True Life Blues, the title cut, and another song on there as well. And at that time, they didn't give statues to everybody.
Oh,
so I didn't get one. I probably could now because they've changed their rules.
Okay. I mean, I'm a member of the Academy. I'm like, how did you get nominated?
Yeah. Well, I've been nominated a number of times in various categories, traditional folk or bluegrass, but usually just nominated,
Well,
it's an honor to be nominated.
Exactly. Not everybody gets that.
No. It's a rarefied field.
Well, what are some of your other highlights?
Well, what I really consider the highlights are my chances to get to play with some of the truly greats in traditional music. I've gotten to produce and work with Alice Gerard, who of Hazel and Alice, and I've gotten to work with Hazel Dickens a lot when she was alive, and got to tour and sing with Ralph Stanley in his band.
I saw him.
Clinch Mountain Boy. And both playing bass and playing fiddle. And work with J.D. Crowe on a few shows. And, people who are like heroes of mine, I've gotten to know them a little bit. And I've gotten to work on shows with Del McCoury and his fantastic kids, his band. And it's been really, really a great, exciting career for me. I got to tour with Patsy Montana, and these are maybe people you don't even know about, but
I don't know Patsy, but
well, she had the first million seller of a woman in like country western music.
Okay.
For her song "I Want to Be a Cowgirl's Sweetheart," and which is a big yodeling number.
Okay.
I want to be a cowboy sweetheart. I want to learn to rope and ride. Anyway, it was back maybe in the I don't even know when it was, the 30s.
From the 30s. Wow.
Yeah. So so I got to go on tour with her one time, and that was amazing. It was great.
Wow. You've got a ton of great stories, it sounds like.
Well, I have had a pretty long career at this point.
That's great. And you're still singing. Now, it did say on the one sheet you'd had some problems. You lost your voice for 6 months or something.
Oh yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It happened in 2021. We just had, after the shutdown and everything, we went out to Colorado to play a festival, and it was the first tour I'd done without Tom Rosen in a really long time, because Tom has Parkinson's and he just wasn't able to play. So I was out with the band on my own. We were at high elevation. I couldn't sleep. And I got a cold, and something happened in my voice, and paralyzed neck muscles on my right side. So only half of my larynx was responding. And I was trying really hard to sing at this festival, and something just went kablooey in there. And it took 6 months for it to come back.
Wow, but it came back.
Well, yes, it came back a little bit different. and I'm singing a little differently now. I've kind of lowered keys, but I'm, rather than trying to be stuck on what I can't do, I'm really leaning into what I can do and what my strengths are, and maybe going for a more mature sound. I'm not sure, but that's what I say.
Okay, yeah. So it did change your voice, but you are able to perform and just lower some keys and
yeah.
Who's this? There's an opera singer that had to do the same thing. He was like a tenor, but then later in his career he had to lower it to like baritone keys. Mm-hmm. It might have been Andrea Bocelli. I'm not sure, but that's not an uncommon thing.
It's really not. It's more. It's less common for men, I understand, than women.
Okay.
Because the thing that happens with women is a much bigger hormonal change. When we go through menopause, and everything changes, and that doesn't really happen with men so much.
Right. So they don't really experience that later in life, lower key kind of thing.
Right. Yeah.
I'm glad that you're, it sounds like you got a great attitude, and just powering through when, at least you got your voice back. So that's the main thing.
I've got a tool I can work with.
Exactly. So that's great. Let's talk about the song, Enough.
Oh, yeah.
Is the one, because I tend to put these out about 3 or 4 months after I interview my podcast guests, just because my flow of life and all that. So I think Aaron had said that Enough was one of the singles you're going to release later on.
I think it is a radio one. I would say it's possibly going to be a little bit of a sleeper on the album, because I think it's the second cut on the album, but it's moody, it's most people are looking for an up-tempo song.
Okay.
And this is not particularly up-tempo, but for me, it's really one of my favorite songs on the album. It's it means a lot to me. The lyric means a lot. And I think it's a little painful, but pain is okay. Pain is good.
Yeah, certainly blues, which influences bluegrass, right? There's definitely some.
Absolutely. Yeah, they say, I read this somewhere, and I'm gonna butcher it because it's science, but there was a study done about blues singing, and the fact that the actual singing of blues releases endorphins in your brain, and it makes you happier. It makes you feel better physically and mentally to sing these things. So there's a real purpose behind it. A self-survival purpose. Makes you be able to get through. And makes me happy to sing sad songs.
Well, at this point, I'll say, let's let the listeners hear the song.
They say Sequoia needs a fire to free the seed from the cone, but the land of my dreams, it's an ash gray monotone. The earth lies scorched, my heart is bereft. Where once was a home, just these cinders are left, and the only place safe from the flames is this hard granite stone. And I know we need the rain but I'm drowning in these tears. If they could wash away the pain, Lord, I'd be free and clear. I need the hot sun beating on my head, warm sand between my toes in a dry creek bed. But the river keeps rising, bringing down a flood of fears. I've had enough fire, I've had enough rain. Lord, I'm so tired of all this pain. Everything I love is disappearing from the land. So I squeeze my eyes shut, for I've seen more than I can stand. But then I see the way we used to dance, the fields of flowers and the nights of romance, and I open my eyes again and reach for your hand. I've had enough fire, I've had enough rain. Lord, I'm so tired all this pain. Lord, I'm so
Yeah, I actually like the moodiness. I guess I just like things that are kind of moody and dark.
Thank you.
And let's see, there's banjo on there, right?
That's right. That's George Guthrie. And I love the banjo playing on it. We were trying to figure out the feel of the song. He was listening to it, and then he stopped and he goes, wait, let me try this. And he tuned his banjo down. I think we're in F or maybe E. And he tuned his banjo down to E, and that's why it has that beautiful deep tone to it, which is unusual. And as soon as he started doing that, I went, that's the sound. That's what we're looking for. So yeah, it was great to have him, and also to have Sam Ryder playing accordion on it, which really fills it out and gives it that a beautiful moodiness, I think.
And talk about what the song means to you personally.
Well, as you know, I'm a Californian, and California is a land of real extremes. I mean, we have the highest mountain in the lower 48. We've got the lowest elevation point in the lower 48. We've got probably the most extremes in terms of wealth and poverty. And we have huge extremes in terms of drought and rain as well. And we've got this terrible problem with fires now because there's been so many droughts. I mean, but fire has always been a part of California ecology. Naturally, before white people came, it was, the native Californians would purposely set fire to grasslands and stuff like that at the end of the harvest seasons so that it would encourage new growth for next year when they would come.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
It's really been, we've really upset that sort of that cycle here in California, and it's made it so that there's been an incredible amount of downed firewood and stuff that burns when a fire starts. And so anyway, that song is sort of a reflection on that, and a reflection of how things have changed with, European American intervention into the landscape, and also how things have changed within my own personal life. And it's sort of the macrocosm of California and the microcosm of my own life boiled down to 2 verses and a chorus, or 3 verses and a chorus.
In your own life, like maybe with your husband getting Parkinson's, that sort of thing?
Yeah.
That's got to be a lot. I mean, the main spokes.
It is.
Yeah. It's been a few years that he's had it.
Yeah. It's been quite a while now. I mean, I would say he was maybe diagnosed 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But it's a slow, progressive downhill, one direction thing, and it's very difficult to watch a loved one go through that.
Well, I'm glad that you made a song that really represents that and hopefully sends off the endorphins of happiness in other ways.
Yeah.
I love that idea.
Yeah, me too. It's like there is a purpose.
Right. Yeah. Connecting to,
Well, it's not just wallowing.
Right. It's like, okay, rising from the ashes, basically.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm getting from it. So that's pretty cool, Laurie. Okay, now, do you have any cautionary tales or an experience with ageism or any sort of, icky stuff?
Well, you can't be a woman in the music business without having experienced sexism and, as you get older, ageism. I mean, truly, there's a very, very, very few women my age. I'm 73, be 74 this year, that are really still out there working. And there's a reason for that. Women have a shorter shelf life than men. There's very few. You can't look at. I mean, Tony Bennett was amazing. He could sing into his 90s like crazy, but there are very few Willie Nelsons or Tony Bennett's out there in the female realm. I love to see Dolly Parton still out there doing it.
Yeah, because she's
had to work really, really hard at maintaining this female vision of herself as well. I want to age naturally, and so that's a little more difficult. You don't see many older women out there without facelifts and straightened teeth and all that stuff that you have to go through. I should straighten my teeth, but but yeah, it's difficult. I think that personally, I have maintained some sort of a presence because I've luckily and sometimes unbeknownst to me been a mentor to other younger women coming up who are doing really well, and so they have helped to keep me in the spotlight by mentioning me or working with me or something like that. And so that really helps.
Yeah. Who are your mentees?
Well, let's see. I have a very wonderful group of them. I'd say Tatiana Hargraves, Molly Tuttle, Kimber Ludiker.
These are all bluegrass musicians, right?
Yeah, you probably don't know them. Well,
yeah, unfortunately, I know all the most famous ones, like Bill Monroe and Ralph Stanley and the Stanley Brothers, stuff like that. And
those are the older ones. This is the younger generation coming up.
Right.
Brittany Haas, fantastic fiddler, and really all these young women, they are incredible musicians. And I'm lucky that they have kind of acknowledged an importance that my music has played in their lives.
That's great.
Yeah,
that is that's a great way to be. To be that sage person that other people can benefit from. Yeah,
it's incredible. I mean, you want to try and give back in terms of your knowledge and what you've gone through, and I'm glad that people have paid attention.
That's great. So I hope you just keep going to your, till the end, like Willie Nelson is doing in my neck of the woods.
Yeah, really. I mean, can you think of a woman who has achieved anything near that he's got? I mean, and just completely on his own terms, his wrinkly old face and his, scraggly braids and everything. I mean, I want to be the female Willie Nelson.
Be the female Willie. We need a female Willie Nelson, I mean, that's why I focus on women in music, just because we need more presence in the industry, I think.
Oh, yeah. That has always been, it has always been thus.
Yes. And you work with Linda Ronstadt, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'm very, very lucky to get to sing with Linda. And I started out, she consented to playing one set at a festival. And I put together the band. It was Linda, Maria Moldar, and myself as a trio called the Bluebirds.
Oh, and, wow.
Yeah. Linda was just awesome to work with, as was Maria. And after that, Linda sang, I think, on 3 songs of mine, maybe 4 songs. Yeah, 4 songs of mine on recordings. And we became friends. And then she and Tom have kind of shared the Parkinson's journey together. She has Parkinson's.
I did not know that.
Yeah. Yeah. So she does not
doesn't perform anymore. Right. Yeah. But at least, I mean, that's the Bluebirds. Did you put an album out as the Bluebirds?
No. Oh. Linda wouldn't allow any recording of the one show that we did. So it just has to live in my memory. And it does. It was a really, really wonderful event. It was at a bluegrass festival in Tacoma, Washington called Wintergrass. Yeah.
Wintergrass?
Yeah.
God, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was really great. And I swear, when Linda, about the 3rd or 4th song into the set, when she stepped up to the microphone and started singing High Sierra, it was like, the crowd just it hit with such a wave of emotion through that crowd. I mean, and tears just leapt out of my eyes. I mean, it was amazing to hear this voice from the radio standing like 3 feet away from me on stage.
Oh, wow. That's great.
It was my 3 feet from stardom moment.
Well, is there anything I haven't covered that you would like to mention?
Well, I have to put in a plug for my new album, which is titled Trees. It's out on, it'll be out on Spruce and Maple Music, which is my own personal label. So I can do whatever I want, however I want to do it.
Absolutely.
Excuse me. And I have a wonderful band, a little quartet that I love to play with. So if any of your listeners are anywhere out there and they hear of Laurie Lewis and the Right Hands, please come on by and say hi and share a few songs with us.
Are you going to be in Austin?
Austin's a hard nut to crack. I used to go there a lot. And the reason I don't really much anymore is because there is so much great music in Austin and there are so many people based there. And there's only so many gigs, and you're competing with all of these amazing people who just live there. And I don't know. It's a little hard to justify paying my way down there.
Right. You probably, hard to make any money doing it.
Mm-hmm. It is. So, Austin is a great success story in terms of a music community, and that's one of the reasons why I don't go there very often anymore. I would go there to hang out.
Yeah, it is fun to hang out here as well.
Yeah.
Well, your website's laurielewis.com, right?
That's correct.
LAURIELEWIS.com. Are you on the socials at all, or do you just...
Yeah, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, and that's about it. When Twitter came along, I just said, no, I'm not doing another thing. I don't care if you think I should, I won't. TikTok, I have never seen TikTok, so I'm up to as far as I want to go in technology.
Yes. And are you at Laurie Lewis on both of Facebook and Instagram?
Yeah.
Okay,
yes.
That's good. Well, cool. It's been really nice talking to you.
It's been great talking to you too. And thank you so much for including me in Gfire. Makes me very happy.
Well, that's good. Well, the pleasure's mine.
Thank you.
All right. Have a great rest of your day, Laurie.
Right. You too.
Okay.
It's been
bye-bye.
a pleasure talking to you. Bye-bye.